We have three parts to the brain. We have the neocortex, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive function and solving complicated problems. We have the midbrain, which is the mammalian brain. That's responsible for emotion and feelings. And then we have the root of the brain, which is the reptilian brain. The brain stem and the amygdala, which controls all of our primal urges and desires. It's responsible for our autonomic nervous system. It does everything that the body needs to do without us having to think of it, such as digesting food and adrenaline and cortisol, producing hormones and things like that. But these things happen separate from each other. And it seems like there was once a time where all three of these parts of the brain were more in sync or in harmony with each other. And the human brain, I feel, is designed to be more in harmony with other human beings by way of the brain and the heart. Because if you think about these two things, these two organs, the brain and the heart, it's like they emit electromagnetic fields. The Institute of Heart Math found this to be the case with the heart. The heart is, we think of the heart as a pump, right? It pumps blood throughout the body and your cardiovascular system, but the heart actually emanates electricity, not just throughout your own body, but it emanates electricity beyond your body. I think if you think of your brain and your heart as an electromagnetic field, you can use the brain and the heart to its full potential much easier. Because I think it was Einstein who said we only use 13% of our brains. And also, I don't think we use our hearts to the full capacity either. Our brains could be maximized. We can use more of the brain. The brain is more powerful than what we humans use it for today. And maybe sometime hundreds of thousands of years ago or thousands of years ago, we were able to use our brain to the capacity that is not fathomable today. If you think about the pyramids and things like this that were built hundreds of thousands of years ago, how did they do it? We can't wrap our heads around it. We can only speculate as to how they did it. But they weren't stupid. They knew some pretty precise mathematics and some pretty precise technology to be able to do that and line it up with constellations in the sky perfectly. So this is like stuff that we don't understand. We don't fully understand it. I mean, we can try to understand it, but we don't actually understand it to its full capacity. If we're able to tap into this vast energy that is designed in the human body, I think we can accelerate our potential and reach potentials that we don't even know we can reach. A lot of us don't actually think as far as we need to. Like, we can't imagine what's not there. It's almost like it's in another dimension. In this realm or in this dimension here, we only understand what we can see with our own two eyes. We only understand what we can hear with our own two ears. We can't really go beyond that. And there's much more beyond what we can see with our own eyes and hear with our ears. There's just too much potential along the line. We've lost this as a species. Some people think that our species, our human species, is a hybrid. it's a mix of some sort with some alien species. And they think that we were bred to be workers, almost like a battery for quote unquote elitists of some sort. But it's an interesting thing. Are we a science experiment? Are we the product of a science experiment? And if we were mixed with intelligent beings, we have some of that DNA inside of us. I guess you have to choose to prove to yourself how powerful you really are. You have to think beyond what you think you're capable of right now. You're capable of so much more if you can think beyond it. But if you stay stuck in this dimension, you can only think so far, and you're basically capped. You're capped in your thinking. Your thinking is blunted or stunted, which stunts your potential. Because if you can't think further, you can't go further. You can only go as far as you can think. So I think that by maximizing the thought process and doing things like mastering meditation, getting really good at meditation. I think there's levels of meditation. I think, the base level of meditation, like after you do yoga and you're laying in shavasana and you feel totally relaxed and tranquil and at peace, and you get glimpses of meditation during that time where you're laying on your back and your mind is very calm, like a pond, and the ripples have already dissipated and it's just tranquil and serene and calm. And then there's other levels of meditation where you can go beyond that and you can really start to control things with your mind and create things with your mind that you didn't see or perceive before. You sort of broaden your perception. If you've ever meditated for small amounts of time, you'll know that you'll start to recognize things that you didn't recognize before. Like when you're driving in traffic and you're multitasking during the day and trying to get things done, your brain is not aware of a lot of the things that are very helpful to you or insightful, clairvoyant. It's just not aware because it's preoccupied with what it's doing. Well, it's almost like you remember something, but then you also realize something new. And sometimes these things happen simultaneously. It's a good feeling when you have some sort of epiphany hit you and you're like, wow. It could be in the form of an idea. It could be, something that you wanted to say to somebody and you found the perfect way to say it. You found a really effective way to communicate with somebody, or this idea to do something just sprouted in your mind. And then you feel invigorated and you feel motivated to pursue the idea. So that's one of the reasons why meditation is so important. But even going beyond just epiphanies and clairvoyance and things like that, I think the better you get at meditating and using your mind, the more the world will open up to you. Because now you can control your emotional state much easier. And if we think about the heart and the brain as an electromagnetic field, if you control the resonance in that magnetic field, that magnetic field will pull and attract favorable things to you, and also act like a force field for negative things. It's really a beautiful thing, man. But it's an invisible field that we humans can't see, and a lot of us can't even understand how that works because we don't see it with our own two eyes, and we don't hear it with our two ears. So our senses, in a way, are limited. You almost got to realize that there's a sixth sense. involved. You can't see or hear. It's something that you feel. It's sort of like the aura that people talk about. When somebody has that orange glow around them. It's just a matter of tapping into it, and the possibilities could be endless if we know how to first calm the mind and train the mind properly. But it takes consistency and it takes dedication to get to that point. And I don't think I've been to that point before. I've been close to it through meditation after yoga, but it's a energetic field where everything is possible and anything is possible. Until you get to the point where difficulty is easy. Difficulty becomes effortless. If you ever saw the movie The Matrix, when they're all shooting the bullets at Neo, and he slows every bullet down and then just knocks them away as if it's nothing. It's sort of like that when you're able to control your mental state in such a way where you're able to slow everything down. All the chaos that's surrounding you, it all comes to a slow stop. And then you're able to pick apart and analyze things in real time while everything else is immobilized. It's pretty amazing. You can almost see how and why this happens. It's just it's almost like a mind game, you know? Play the game and keep playing the game, and you will find your calm center. It's mental strength, mental control. And the more you practice mental control, everything is literally mental. So anything that needs to be overcome in this life is mental. You got to be able to calm yourself in the midst of chaos, because there's chaos all around us. If you cannot be calm and centered within the chaos, you will not control your outcomes. So it's a must to control the internal state. And in order to do it, you practice. You expose yourself enough times to the chaos and controlling your internal state while you're in that chaos. And this is what brings you to your calm center, your internal fortitude. And it's that inner strength that we all want, because that inner strength is going to propel each and every one of us in this life. So it's just a matter of tapping into it. So I would say, try to meditate. The best way that I've found is after yoga or some sort of exercise, when I'm able to stretch my body and work all the kinks out of my body. Because if you have blockages in your body, you can't get to that state because your body is screaming for attention, for some sort of relief. So if you can stretch the areas, mobilize the areas that need to be mobilized, meditation is going to be so much easier. Like if I've been sitting in the car all day, my hip flexors are tight and my muscles are locking up. So my brain can't really do what it needs to do or what I want it to do in meditation if first it needs to take care of the tense muscles. Because trying to meditate while in a state of tension, it's not going to work. That's why I think yoga goes good with meditation. It's the best way to calm the mind. Go on a hike outside in nature and then come back and stretch. And then after you stretch, do the meditation where you quiet the mind. Try that and see what happens. And the more you practice that, the better you get at it. The problem is that a lot of us are not consistent with it. And so we're not able to see a lot of results because we're not as consistent as we would like to be. We think that maybe there's not enough time in the day. I think you can slow time down once you meditate. I think the brain works more efficiently if you give it what it needs. And not just nutrition and food, but it needs that meditation. I really think it needs that. Things that might seem so difficult, obstacles that seem unbearable, are not so unbearable once you cultivate that inner fortitude. And at first it's going to take a little bit of tenacity. But once you cultivate it, it becomes much easier and much more enjoyable. No matter what situation you're in, if you know how to control your mental state, you're going to not only be able to control your outcomes, but by controlling your mental state, you're giving yourself what you need. You're giving yourself what you need, exactly what you need. Internal medicine is what it's called. Can you cultivate internal medicine on your own without searching for something outside of yourself? And that is just cultivated through practice. So give that a try. Let me know in the comments section how it works, if there's any tips. But you guys keep getting to the next level, and we'll check you on the next one.